good afternoon, and especially the reason why I wanted to come live today is it's International Women's Day. And if I had forgotten what day it would be, let me say here in Ukraine, good morning, Libya, I see you. Yesterday I was getting ready to go film, and I see flowers and these stands around the metro, and I went, "Wait, what's the occasion?" Oh, International Women's Day. And this morning, I see the young men and the gentlemen here buying flowers for the women in their life. And I sent a special message to Moya Mama through my friend. I didn't go over there today because I have three things I have to do that will basically move me in the other direction. And also, I can't go to the Defender rally today because same thing. I have a lot of writing to do in order to get ready for interview tomorrow. And yeah, there's a lot to do. Дуже багато роботи. But I see Libby here, and I think that there are others who see this. I want to express a really deep DNA level gratitude to the women of the world, all of you, and a special acknowledgement that without my grandmother, my mom, my wife, my friends, I I wouldn't be here, and not simply because my mom gave birth to me or that my grandmother raised me, but that each of you has an impact upon our lives, and my life in particular. I've always had a fairly disproportionate level of women as friends than men. You're more sane than we are. You're more in tune than we are. You're the best guides in the world. We don't treat you very well. Even the good guys fuck up and miss who you are. I've seen it. But the condition for women in the world never ceases to be unspeakable at so many levels that are quiet, some that are loud, and we have to do more to protect the women in our lives, to listen to them, to learn from them. And I'm very grateful for all that you do. And like I said, all, meaning that there are people I may disagree with ideologically. And I'm going to be even more clear in America. I know there are some that are sabotaging the efforts of women. If you vote for Trump, it's kind of undermining the cause. But same thing. Many women who voted for Trump still go home and take care of a family, still go home and take care of a man in their life, or a mom or a dad in their life, or something that requires us to just stop for a moment and say thank you. And maybe that will change some of the problems there. I could get in a long list of violations that continue to occur for women. It's horrible sometimes to think about, again, the unspoken crimes and the ones that get lost in the headlines. But we have to do better. We have to try to do everything we can. And it's a learning process for many, but it's not a learning process for those who have been battling it their whole lives. Women have put up with so much shit, absolutely so much shit. Uh, you know, and I'm in my mid 50s. I've said this for a while that the movies and the songs of my youth all portrayed women as goals, as rewards for good behavior, rewards for saying the right thing or accomplishing something that is not just gratitude for who they are, gratitude all because of who they are before the reward system kicks in. You're not two dimensional. You're not a trophy to put in the life of anyone's accomplishments. You are unto yourself a cosmic being, and I think we should express more gratitude besides one time a year. In parts of the world, women are relegated to below animals, honestly. And we have so much to do to change the planet to where that stops, to where that's intervened. And that includes the big name items like sex trafficking and the disappearance of women, the subjugation of women, both in the political sphere and at the home, And it's not something isolated to, what people think of as the third world or over there. It's a little everywhere. And we have women leaders in the world who are amazing when we listen and when we empower. And America still has not yet elected a woman to be president. 250 years, 250 years birthday in July this year, and still hasn't elected a woman to be president. It's a fucking shame. So I want to say thank you again. Deep, deep within my being, I know who the best guides and the best mentors are, and my best friends always. And here in particular in Ukraine, I'm without words to the gratitude for my mom, my adopted mom, to the women I know who struggle to bring home their sons and their husbands and their brothers, uh, the women of steel, as we say, including the actual organization Women of Steel, who I know. Um, for those who don't know, in Ukraine, women run the house, and I don't mean that they're the housekeepers, meaning like every Ukrainian man I know understands who's in control at home, and it's a very matriarchal life, and I love it. Actually, I think it's needed. It's overdue in America. There's uh, there's a lot to learn from this. The past 4 years, I have a long list of women to thank for their kindness, for their openness to help the people in their lives and to bring me into the lives that of their struggle. And the women here in Ukraine have been, uh, again, without words, an inspiration is not enough to say this. I come from a Slavic grandmother. My grandmother was everything for me. She was my best friend growing up. She was who I took the punches for, why I didn't move out when the violence happened in our home. And she was an abused wife 3 times over. So my grandfather was abusive. Her second husband was abusive. Her third boyfriend guy was abusive to me and abusive to her. And I know what the devil looks like and what the devil does for women, two women, not for women, but two women. But she was a powerhouse unto herself. And I'm really grateful for the nurturing that she provided me, the guidance that, like every part of my life where I'm a workaholic, totally get that from my mom and my grandmother. My dad was too, to be honest. My dad was a great guy. My dad also, same thing, respected women. And, but I know what that kind of woman is like because my grandmother was it. She was the one who took care of the mechanics at the Mercedes-Benz dealership, the flagging, lady that comes up and says, "No, you didn't work 3 hours. You get paid." In the book it says one hour, but I'll give you 1.5, and here's my cookies for my lunch. The same vibe happens right here. Just this morning, I always go to my cafe to say good morning to the friends, and there's a seat there with four babusi that are waiting for the sun to pass, and they hang out. I always stop by and say, Dobry rano, jak sprawy? How are you? Good morning, and give them a hug, or I greet them in some way. And good to see you, Lori. Welcome. And again, same thing to you. Happy International Women's Day, and thank you for all that you do and all that you are. And I'm going to leave it like that. I've got a lot of work to get done today so that we can be very successful for the week and the projects that are going on. And I'll give you a little bit briefing later tonight after I'm done with some of the work. But let's just elevate women every day, not just one day a year, not just when it's convenient for us, not when we're trying to get ahead, not when we suddenly remember. Show it at the ballot box. Even if there's not a woman on the, as a candidate, vote for the women in your life. Vote for their needs. Vote for the improved medical care. In the garbage that's the blatant misogyny and policy by the Republican Party. Don't put up with the patronizing of either party, any of the parties. Don't put up with the patronizing in the politics or the local sphere. I'll also say that it just really, I'm kind of free forming my thoughts here. When I was in management in my 20s, you know who the best managers really were that were working around me? In fact, my first manager, when I was just a kid and I walked into Eckerd Drugs to be an employee, Karen Jackman was my first manager, and she was just the most amazing guide. Everything I got right after that totally belongs to the credit of Karen Jackman. She was, a woman of steel, but also a kind person who remembered that you're going through. Maybe you're stressed. Maybe some things were happening at home, or maybe you just needed to be understood a bit. She didn't put up with any bullshit, and she'd roll up her sleeves just like the rest of the people in the store, and she'd make things happen. And I have a fond memory of how I accidentally got promoted because see, I quit my job there as a kid as a clerk, and I was done. I didn't want to do it anymore. And the next day, I was promoted up to the district office, so it was kind of funny. And I said, I didn't even know you knew I existed. And Tony says, well, you know, uh, why that happened? I'm sorry, Henry Esparza. He was the guy I had chewed out. Sorry, I had it backwards. Henry Esparza promoted me up. He goes, you know why? No, no, I don't, because I didn't know any value I had. He says, remember the day we were in the store with Tony, the remodeling manager for the district? Yeah. And and you came over 4 aisles to chew him out? Yeah. I didn't like how he talked to Karen, our manager. He was berating her. His tone was condescending. Why were you doing this? Why were you doing that? Over something that was actually a good thing to get done. And I chewed him out. I said, well, we're losing 400 and something dollars, of a month on that section right there. And that's why we did this. And I got this look from her. Go back. I turned around and walked the store back to my whatever I was doing. And Henry says, I needed someone like that. And that's all because Karen was an incredible manager, an incredible leader, and shaped the forming of everything I did after that. That was eventually some form of leadership. And when it came to the managers that I would work with as I grew up in that first 10 years where before I started my own business, um, the ones I know in retrospect I could totally count on to get the job done and no BS were the women. The guys always had to be like the little sergeants that, had to remind you they had some sort of power. And the women were too busy just getting the shit done. And that's how it is. In the military, Pete Hegseth and the idiots that are running the current military, batteries trying to do it. Um, exactly. If it weren't for women, we men would not be here. And I said, even beyond being born, women are it's just, and the list is long of what we owe them. Um, and in the military, for instance, with Pete Hegseth's idiocy and the insecure little dick power issues that are going on with those guys, it's completely disgraceful. I live in Ukraine, where war is fought every day, and yes, there's mostly men at the front, mostly, but there are women who are out there fighting like hell. And no one stops and says you don't get to fight. No one stops and says you're not going to be a sniper. No one stops and says you're not going to be a commander. We don't have time for that shit. Reality check hits in, and the U.S. military is no different. I know There are a lot of women in my life that are friends over the years that they have great service records and they did their part as good as the men, if not better. And that has to change. So, but that's it for now. I'm gonna every try to start off my phone. Sorry, I keep having to step to the phone. That's it for now. I just wanted to say again from the bottom of my heart, with no other message to share about the day or the situation here or anything else. Thank you. And let's remember on International Women's Day to not just say something, but to do something, to take action and stand with our sisters, our wives, our girlfriends, our moms, grandmas, neighbors, all the women in our life who change and provide a better world for the daughters of this world who will inherit this. See you soon. Thank you so much.